All right, so Christmas came early this year, or is it late? Seeing how it's beginning of March, went out and got myself a brand new table saw. This is a significant upgrade from what I had before. From what I had before, really didn't fit the needs of what I was trying to accomplish. And if you're like me and you're on a budget, that this might be something that you might look into as well. I got this from the Big Blue store, you know, Lowe's. And we're gonna unbox it and set it up and see how she runs. Might need these. All right, what I have here is I laid out all the pieces on a work table. I find this to be much more organizing. But from what I read when this saw first came out, that this was one of the problems, is that the assembly was a bit of a bear. But so far the unpacking part went pretty well, and they actually have some organization to their hardware too, so I'm pleased about that. Alright, when you're tightening these down, you just got to be careful. If you go too tight, it impedes the wheel from rolling. Just back it down, make sure it can roll, then just tighten it up. Back it off just a bit. There you go. And the lock nut will go ahead and keep that in place. So we'll be able to roll just fine. Alright, so I employed the help of my son. We took it off the box here, flipped it over, and this is what we have so far. Now, like a lot of other people have done, is they have put the kick wheel on this side. Obviously this is going to be out here. Sometimes if you want to put a router table in here, this might get in the way a little bit of trying to get to this. This seems a lot more ergonomically, you know, even if it's here, you just kick it down. Here's your table. It's super easy. Makes this thing slide and glide. I can move this in and out of the way as I see fit. Next is we'll put the railings up and the wings, and we'll go from there. My biggest worry is maybe not that this flares up so much, but I don't want that to do that either. But the transition between your stamped steel and your main table, I don't want it catching over and over and over again, because that'll definitely do damage on your fence and on the table itself. So this is going to take a little time of just simple maneuvering, taking your time, and getting it done right. All right, next we're going to attach one of the rails, the front rails. It's a split rail system, and what they're saying now is use a flat hex nut with a flange washer. I don't know if you can see that. A little flat, so we're going to go ahead and get started on that. I'm not going to tighten it up too much. Alright, after spending a few minutes with the rail and the gauge, one thing I did notice, get one end in and get it true to the tabletop and to the rail. It should be, there's 3 places you got to look at. Make sure it's flat on top, make sure the bottom of the rail touches the bottom of the gauge, and it has to be the proper distance away from the table itself. So what I did is I locked one in, and then you go to the very end of the rail system and use it as a pivot. Use this as the pivot point, and you can move it up and down, and then the middle parts of the rail remain true. I'm going to double check all my work. I place the union plate, it goes underneath. Alright, on to the other side. Alright, after installing the front end of the rail, I went to the hardware bag and got the rest of the flathead hex screws, like so, and there's only 4 left. But then I noticed there are several different places to attach the back rail to with only 4 screws. So if you look at the directions closely, it says that it wants you to use 4 of these to put into the recessed holes. You see, these are, you got some that are recessed and some that aren't. So we're going to put these flatheads into the stamped steel sections, and then we're going to go with the 7/8 hex bolt that goes right into the table itself. So not much of a hiccup, but made me scratch my head a few times. But we got it straightened out, and we're going to go ahead and put this back rail on. Okay, after I put the fence on, ran it across, I was getting some catch right in here. So what I did at first was I loosened up these 3 bolts underneath, and I tapped just the edge of the stamped steel, bring it up to where I wanted, and it was still catching. Alright, then when I eyeball it down here, I see that the little glide plate wasn't gliding on this rail once it came out, which led to me to believe that my rail was tilted ever so slightly down on this end. So I just loosened up 3 bolts, eased up on it a little bit, brought it out, eased up a little bit on it, and as soon as I saw that the guide bushing, it's probably made out of nylon, but the guide bushing was up against the rail, tightened them down. Now there's no click, there's no hitting in the transition. It's riding perfectly on the rail instead of hitting the table. Okay, next what I want to do is I want to check the trueness of the blade right out of the box, because I believe this could be a source of contention if it isn't true, so it'd take a while to adjust the blade. Now what I want to do is I want to make sure that the blades run in parallel and not slightly, you know, I'm over exaggerating with my hand, but not slightly one way to another. So the easiest way that I know how to do this is you grab your square. You want to grab a tooth, just a certain tooth, and get it just to rub. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's just rubbing the rule. So I slid my rule out just until it made that little rubbing noise. I took a marker and I marked that tooth, because that's the tooth we want to check on the back side of the blade, okay? So you rotate this back, slide this back, and as it comes up, is it rubbing the same amount? Now if it's catching, obviously I'm kind of pushing over, but if it's catching, then it's not running true. So let's see, is that the right one? That's not the right tooth, that's why. There we go. Oh, catching a little bit. It's not too bad, not too bad right out of the box. So that's my tooth. It's rubbing about the same amount as the other one. Slide it down, that's my marked tooth. So out of the box, I'm pretty pleased. All right, well, here we go with the standard nickel test. We'll see how she sounds. I trued the blade up, got the fence going. Everything seems to be right where I like it. So let's give it a try. Well, there you have it. She's quiet, stable, low vibration. I think I'm gonna love it. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and give you a walk around of the assembled saw, just so you get a good idea. You have your dust collection port on this side. Here, the pedal for putting it up on wheels. Very simple. And as you can see, I put it on the short side of the table. They say to put it on this side down here, but as you may see, that's the long side of the rip, and to be reaching underneath there, I think it makes more sense to put it on the other side. That's really the only adjustment I've made. Here's the fence, the fencing system. Also, on the fence itself, you can unscrew and unscrew these two bolts and slide this a little bit either way to get it dialed it right in. This is where your fence can sit. And some more tools. Give you a good look at the stamped steel. Give you a look at the thickness. I like it, pretty good quality. Where you're mounting it up. Okay, so what we have here is the Delta 36-725 10-inch contractor saw. It's available at Lowe's. I paid $599 for it. It has the cast tabletop, the stamped steel wings on it. Comes with a nice Biesmeyer style fence. The fence itself has lots of micro adjustments. So I'm very, very pleased with this. I'm very pleased with the railing and the quality of the railing itself. Yes, it's a split rail system, but if you take your time, you set it up properly, I think it'll be just fine. Again, for under $600 or at the $600 mark. So far, I like the quality of it. Of course, you want bigger and better, but bigger and better comes with a bigger price tag on it. But if you're on a budget, and like I am, and you want to upgrade yourself, maybe this is the saw for you. We'll go through some of the specs on it. It has 120 volt or 240 volt, 30-inch rip capacity to the right, 15-inch rip capacity to the left, dust collector port, which I haven't tried, tubular legs, which I like it a lot. I like it that it's mobile. For me and maybe for yourself, mobility in a smaller shop area means a lot. So, so if you can just kick a pedal and wheel this where you want to work or out of the way, if you got other things going on in your shop, this works fantastic. Honestly, I can't be more pleased so far with how this has turned out. I'm looking forward to getting some more use out of it and maybe putting out some more videos. I don't know. I think this is a saw for me. I'm very pleased.